This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News. News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Good evening, boys and girls, scholars and laymen. This is your friend, Brother Ron, also known as R2, C2H2 the Artemis. I'm live on location. I'm in Richmond, Virginia at the Sacred African Burial Grounds. Tomorrow, October 10th, will be the 215th year anniversary of the martyrdom, the state assassination of one Gabriel Prosser. Gabriel Prosser was a brother who was a mastermind, an enslaved African who was planning arguably the largest insurrection in American history, and he was betrayed by people closest to him, and he was assassinated October 10th, 1800 at the tender age of 24. What makes him so unique is the fact that Brother Gabriel Prosser was a very educated black man. In spite of being enslaved, he actually was very literate, and he was considered by his peers, black and white, to be unusually intelligent, and he had a great presence as well. According to some descriptions, he was either 6'2" or 6'3", a very imposing figure, unusually strong because he was a blacksmith by trade, very skilled in that labor, and also he had 3 distinctive scars on his head, and he was missing a lot of his front teeth, I guess, from getting into fights and whatnot. But he was considered by many enslaved Africans to be a natural leader. Now, what inspired Gabriel Prosser, or Brother General Gabriel, as he should be called? He was born in Henrico County back in 1776. His so-called master was Thomas Prosser. And sometimes the history book will refer to him as Gabriel Prosser because his master name was Prosser. But a lot of the grassroots black power, black nationalist community considered him, and even his peers call him General Gabriel, because he was just definitely the enslaved African version, I guess, of General Washington in terms of his leadership ability. But back in 1799, Gabriel got into a fight with a white man after stealing a pig, allegedly stealing a pig. He wrestled the white man and bit the white man's left ear off, no Mike Tyson. When he was in court, they gave him the option: you could either be executed for attacking and maiming a white man, as well as for stealing a pig, or he could read a Bible verse correctly and take the punishment of being branded in the left hand for his troubles. So he took the second option. He was branded in his left hand. He was humiliated further by spending 1 month in prison. So his insurrection involved thousands of enslaved Africans as well as free black people, including some white allies, some white abolitionists and whatnot. From my understanding, was in on the insurrection. He told his followers the only white folks that should not be killed were Quakers, Methodists, and Frenchmen, who were advocates and allies to the cause of liberty, and also poor white women who did not own slaves. So he told his people, do not kill the Quakers and the Methodists, do not kill the Frenchmen, and do not kill the poor white women or poor white people because they do not own slaves. It's almost similar to Bacon's Rebellion. Just look that up. I just want to throw out Bacon's Rebellion so you get a quick understanding of what's going on. Because as a blacksmith, Gabriel worked in the foundry to lend out by his master to the foundry. So he was involved working with all types of people, white people, mixed people, black folks. They was all working. So he caught news of what's going on in what is now known as Haiti, as the Haitian Revolution. He was partly inspired by that. And also Gabriel had two brothers, Solomon, who followed him, as well as Martin. And so on August 30th, 1800, they was going to surround the city of Richmond, kidnap the then governor, future president James Monroe, hold them for ransom so they could demand their freedom on their own terms. He wanted to free black people, once again by kidnapping the governor of Virginia, James Monroe, future president of the United States, and demanding that the capitalists, the bloodsuckers, as you would now know, I mean, because he really was into workers' rights and freedom for all people from the evils of capitalism. He was demanding a seat at the table of the merchants who ran the city, of the capitalists, of the 1% who ran the city by, any means necessary. So, because of torrential rain, it was a horrible rainstorm, like very epic rainstorm that happened on August 30th, 1800, that washed away the bridges and other roads and passes that would have been necessary for them to be able to move, to get into position from a logistic point of view. So they had to postpone it to August 31st, but by that time, two snitches, turncoats, told their masters of the plot to overthrow the white power structure in Richmond. So needless to say, they put General Gabriel on the run, as well as some of his followers. I believe people were tried September 11th, and many of his quote-unquote co-conspirators were hanged, including his two brothers, Solomon and Martin. And I believe that Gabriel actually swam to a boat that was owned and operated by a former overseer or slave catcher who changed his mind about the cause of black folks being liberated. His name was, I believe, Richardson Taylor, but unfortunately it was some slaves on the boat, one named Billy, who snitched once again on brother General Gabriel for he was trying to get an award of $300 from the state for turning in information on brother Gabriel. They only awarded him $50 because that's all they gave him, so he couldn't even afford his freedom. So he basically sold out General Gabriel for nothing, for basically pennies on the dollar. So brother Gabriel, to his credit, when he was tried in court, he did not snitch, he did not say a word. He just accepted his punishment. So on October the 6th, he was found guilty. October 6, 1800, he was found guilty of conspiring against the state. They had him planned for execution the following day, or October the 7th, but he wanted that to be postponed so he could be hanged with 6 other slaves on October the 10th. The white power structure honored his request to be hanged on October the 10th, but they hanged him and the 6 other slaves in 3 different locations. Now, where I'm standing right now is the African burial ground, and also quite possibly the execution site of brother Gabriel, General Gabriel. It was that long ago that this lot was actually used as a parking lot, but it was brothers and sisters in the Richmond community, in the progressive black Richmond community, that actually petitioned, they actually did the work to actually pull up the asphalt from this sacred hollow space and put in flowers and trees and whatnot, and markers and memorials to commemorate the sacrifices and the horrors and tortures that people like brother General Gabriel and other enslaved Africans had to go through. So it's interesting how black pain becomes the source of white power and entertainment. Black pain becomes the source of white power and entertainment. This country was built, like Dr. Clark Anderson said, on black labor, but it created white wealth. So when we got to acknowledge, for example, in 2007, then Governor of Virginia, Tim Kaine, gave brother Gabriel an informal pardon. Informal because he'd been dead for over 200 years. So brother Gabriel was pardoned by the state because to me, he didn't do anything wrong, because the state in that time was wrong for enslaving Africans. So all he was doing what any white man would have done back in his day, like the George Washingtons or the Patrick Henrys. Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." That was the battle cry of General Gabriel and his posse and his army. Liberty or death was their hashtag slogan. So to penalize the black man for what the white man did and wanted is hypocrisy. It really is. Matter of fact, one of the founding fathers of this country, Thomas Paine, called out his fellow founding fathers, Jefferson and Washington, for being hypocrites. Now, Thomas Paine was a guy who did the books, The Rights of Man, and also The Common Sense. These were the books that really inspired the American Revolutionary War. So Thomas Paine thought it was hypocritical for white folks to claim liberty, but yet deny that same type of liberty and God-given right to the darker brother, to people of color. So that's something that people should think about. So this is in honor of Brother Gabriel. We love you madly, and let's honor our ancestors by continuing to fight that fight, because here's the thing. Black people in 2016, in a lot of ways, are no better off than Brother Gabriel. Brother Gabriel was a black man who was born into slavery. In spite of that, he was very talented and very educated and gifted, but he still was not allowed to be able to achieve his full potential in a society that benefits white privilege and white survival. So look at now, you got a lot of very intelligent, accomplished, gifted people of color who are still denied their right to achieve their full potential in a system that does not even acknowledge that they're full human beings. People should never forget that the Constitution said that Africans were 3/5 human, and that anytime you got to vote on your right to keep your right to vote, like you're renewing a license, mean you're not a citizen. Make no mistake about it, 11 years ago when Katrina happened, Hurricane Katrina or Hurricane FEMA, a lot of black people, a lot of people, period, were angered by the fact that the media referred to the black folks of New Orleans as refugees. But here's the thing though, you are a refugee because you've never been properly given your citizenship. Yes, we fought in every war. We had 5,000 African Americans fighting with General George Washington. You even had a lot of African Americans or Africans fighting for the British for their freedom, as well as for British protection of their colonies. You had arguably the first person to die for the American Revolutionary War was a black person, Crispus Attucks. And probably he was the first, he actually died dealing with police brutality, which we as black folks still deal with today. The abuses of the British soldiers in Massachusetts led to his death back in 1775. So we still deal with the same stuff that Crispus Attucks had been dealing with. And not to mention the double agent and the servant of General Lafayette, an ally of the American forces, gave General George Washington, James Armistead Lafayette gave George Washington the information from the British side in order to get that decisive victory in Yorktown, which turned the war in the favor of the Americans. But what people don't understand is that George Washington lost more battles than he won, but he won the American Revolutionary War because of a black man who was a double agent for his side, James Armistead Lafayette. So, when they say we're going to pardon somebody like General Gabriel, pardon me, America, because you the one. The system is guilty as hell, not General Gabriel and people who love freedom and who respect humanity everywhere. So we salute the general today, the day before his 215th anniversary of his assassination, of his martyrdom, of his lynching by the state. And this somebody should be better known. We got internet, you got social media, you got all these things that are available at your fingertips. Just ask the right questions to receive the right answers. So I want to encourage everybody out there to look up the brother General Gabriel Prosser and to learn more about this extraordinary human being and about the things he had to come through. But please remember this, black people, you are not citizens of America. Not because I say so, because America says so. Because what I tell people all the time, the person that's buried outside of Ferguson, Missouri is Dred Scott. White supremacy have a way to keep its most shiny tools of oppression, or white supremacy has a way of keeping its most symbolic tools of oppression and repression in mint condition. And every time I go to St. Louis, you know, coming in I-55, whatever, going downtown, the shiniest thing that you see downtown is not the St. Louis Arch. It's the old courthouse where back in 1857, Dred Scott was told that a nigger has no rights that a white man is bound to respect. So a Negro, a color, a nigger has no rights that a white man is bound to respect. This is 1857 St. Louis. Dred Scott is buried outside of Ferguson, Missouri. We recently had the Mike Brown movement and Black Lives Matter stuff. So we still dealing with the same stuff that our ancestors dealt with generations ago in terms of citizenship. Black is a color in a crayon box. It's not a nationality. It's not a term of origin, a place of origin. I'm not even talking about the sovereignty stuff. I'm just think about what I'm saying. Anybody who has power in this system organized around group identity. What is your mother tongue? If you are an Italian American, your people come from Italy. If you're Korean American, your people come from Korea. If you are a black quote unquote American, where do your people come from? What is your mother tongue? What tribe in Africa, whatever that you come from? If you not know these things, you cannot organize around a position of strength and power. It's important to know these things. It's important to know that 100 years ago, if you was considered an Italian American or an Irish American, you was not considered white. The only reason why they are considered white now is because they organize among each other. Like you think about on the East Coast, like New York City or places like that, the Irish took over the police and fire departments. Once they organized among themselves, they were able to get control of an institution. Then and only then were they recognized as a power to be respected and to be invited at the table. Until African Americans or black people get that in their mind, we must learn how to organize and build institutions in order to get the proper respect in a system that denies our citizenship, let alone our humanity, because it's about power. Politics come from organizing the groups, but also knowing what your identity is. So it's very important that we learn from the ancestors that our job is not done. Yes, the best may be yet to come, but it's upon us as people right now to organize, to figure this thing out, to really figure out what we should be doing right now. Not just voting, but also organizing your power. I'll tell you another thing, the most powerful people in this type of system don't vote. They write checks that don't bounce. They have lobbyists and think tanks that support and promote their point of view. They buy their politicians so they could buy their policy. So it don't make a difference what color a person is. Look at what happened to General Gabriel. He was betrayed by folks that look just like him. Just because they got your skin don't mean they're your kin, or if they are your kin don't mean they your friend. So you think about all this stuff. General Gabriel process. Imagine if a handful of them slaves or enslaved Africans or confused people did not snitch on General Gabriel. Imagine what would be different about America right now, about black people right now, about Africans in America. Because America is Africa, truth be told, and that's another thing, but it's some food for thought. Think about what's going on. So in the words of Great Duke Ellington, we love you madly, keep on producing and pushing.